What is up, fine folks? Welcome back. I believe this is episode 6.
Yes.
Of Double Tapped. I'm Jay.
I'm Tanner.
We had to do a brief restart. We were having some technical issues.
Yeah, we had to run it back a little bit, but we're here now.
We were flustered anyway to begin with. We restarted. We missed some stuff. Let's kick off right back now. We got the good stuff. We got the Colorado Rockies back here. It's actually not the good stuff, which will play into a little bit of something we're going to discuss later.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know what today's big topic is,
Yeah,
by the
I've
way.
been keeping it a secret from Tanner to spring it on him. I think it's just a fun, playful little discussion to have.
Oh, all right.
But to begin the fun little playful discussion we're going to have,
yeah.
What have you been playing recently, Mr. Tanner?
No, Mr. Tanner, it's official. So I've been playing a lot of Cook Serve Delicious 3, which I think I mentioned on last week's podcast, but that has been my just die hard, gonna listen to a podcast, gonna watch a game of basketball, or gonna watch a game of baseball, surprisingly. Just, put something on the other monitor, let me play some Cook Serve Delicious. I am now, so there are different stops. If you don't know what Cook Serve Delicious is, I guess I should explain these games. They are cooking games where you get orders in and you have to prepare them order by order as you get them in. In this game, you're in a food truck, you're traveling across the nation, and you have sort of two different types of orders. You have your prep station orders, which are like things you could make in bulk, right? And then you have your holding station orders, which are more like individualized things. And so you try to, in between stops, as you're driving from stop to stop, you try to like make as much of the prep station stuff as you can to prepare for the incoming thing. It's a really fun, like almost like it feels like a rhythm game to me almost now. Really enjoying that. And then I've also played just a little bit of, per your recommendation last week, of Injustice 2, which has been really fun. I'm not very far in it at all, but I saw, so Mortal Kombat 11 is on sale on the spring sale. I almost bought it.
I almost did.
I had that itch seeing it, and of course the Mortal Kombat movie just came out. But I was like, you know what? I don't need to spend $30 on this. I'm just going to go play Injustice 2, which is on PlayStation Now, and scratch that itch that way. So that's really what I've been playing. Not too much of a development either way.
And in addition to my usual Rocket League, of which
I've been playing Rocket League.
Continue to ascend the ranks slowly as ever. I've added MLB The Show 2021 to my list, and it's been enjoyable. I just played maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours of it this morning. That's the first time I started it.
Okay.
Jumped into Road to the Show, which I guess is like their sort of story mode, where like you create your character and you play. Definitely picked the Chicago Cubs as my team.
Gotcha. You're a Chicago guy.
I've just grown up with a bit of an attachment to Chicago. Yeah. They placed me in Double-A to start with the Tennessee Smokies, I believe is the minor league team.
I wonder if they play in like Gatlinburg.
I don't know. I was playing against, I don't remember where they were from, but the mascot was the Biscuits.
Nice. I've seen their logo before.
Got destroyed by the Biscuits in the first game. And I mean, Biscuits destroy me on a semi-regular basis in my regular life. But
what? What does that mean?
They get your stomach a rumbling, a lot of carbs. When you eat like more than like two.
Yeah, okay,
two biscuits is my limit.
You know what? I hadn't had a biscuit in just a reaction of me saying that. Yeah. This is a much better start to the podcast anyway. I hadn't had a biscuit until our little escapade. Yeah. And that was the last time I've had a biscuit.
Have you ever had like a straight up homemade biscuit? I don't think I've had like a homemade biscuit.
No, normally it's like maybe a biscuit mix kind of thing. I think
the Pillsbury biscuits you just get out of the can. So
can't
good.
Beat them. Yeah, so good. I mean, I'm sure you can beat them, but for what they're worth, they're really good.
Anyway, to push past the discussion of breakfast pastries.
Oh yeah, we're drinking. Did we say we're drinking Coors Light?
I alluded to the.
Oh yeah, you said the good stuff.
The good stuff from the Rocky Mountains.
I was laughing so much at the good stuff that I forgot you said it.
I got to do my Sam Elliott impersonation again.
Oh yeah, that's
because
true.
we concluded that he did not do the Coors Light commercials.
Right.
Those are just the frozen trains barreling down on a beach and running over teenagers.
Do you remember the Coors Light commercial that was just people all over the world?
Yeah, that's the one I read.
Yeah,
and the train comes out of the tunnel. Yeah, like everybody's just everyone insta frostbite.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But then Sam Elliott, the Coors the Banquet beer commercial is just beauty shots of like a river in Colorado, and he's just like Coors the Banquet beer. Like that's it.
That's a good Sam Elliott.
No, it's not. Anyway, now let's get on to some news.
Ram.
So Tanner, Sony has backed off. We touched on this. The PS3 and Vita stores live on.
Hooray!
Hooray! Hooray! Power to the people.
Yeah. Democracy at work.
Exactly. This is a good thing for, like we touched on, game preservation and that sort of thing. Like I also said, the PSP store rightfully still dead.
Yeah.
Your take on all this?
It's a good thing. I think we mentioned, it's kind of funny that, hey, shout out to Kind of Funny. But it's kind of funny that we mentioned all this stuff a couple of weeks ago, or maybe even last week. No, it was a couple weeks ago. And sort of talked about what all this would do negatively. And now we can just kind of go like, and reverse it, and like, everything's fine again. I did mention briefly, and we won't say we mentioned stuff a lot because we didn't get very far, but
no.
When we first started the recording, it'll be interesting to see if they do eventually kill the PS3 store and the Vita store, when they do it, and if they do it in more of a soft capacity of like, you know, indies stop on this date, or, you know, first parties stop on this date, third parties stop on this date, whatever. Because I think one of the reasons it had so much like lashing out from the community, so much backlash, is sort of the hard date of it, right? It was like, it's like the Mario things that we talked about too, where it's just like, oh yeah, July, it's over, goodbye. And so I think that was part of the panic. I think they will eventually close those stores, but I think it's still a little bit too soon.
Yeah, and I don't think there was a huge panic per se. Like, no one was really like itching to buy. Vita's a little different. Like, Vita, relatively new hardware compared to the PS3 at least.
Yeah.
So there are people who are still diehard Vita fans. You're still, you know, I don't want to call you a diehard Vita fan, but you are a Vita fan much more than I.
I'm a Vita appreciator.
There you go.
A Vita appreciator.
And, you know, that is a much more understandable argument. Like, this store should live on. The PS3 should be sunsetted sometime in the near-ish future.
Yeah, I agree.
But for now, get your games in while you can. Enjoy it.
Get your head in the game.
Life is short.
All right.
The life of video games consoles is much shorter than your life. You got plenty of time.
Yeah, you have a few more consoles in you.
For sure.
Dear listener.
Assuming they keep making consoles, which
that's true.
That's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
The second story.
It's a much better start to the podcast.
So the developers of Celeste, a game that is immensely beloved by one of the people in this room,
me,
you, and potentially on the to play list of me.
Yeah.
They've announced their next game titled Earthblade, and it has been described as a 2D exploration game.
Yeah.
In big fat quotation marks. And this gets you excited.
Yes.
Definitely.
So I think, because what is the name of the studio now?
Extremely Okay Games.
Great name.
I'm sure you would describe Celeste as more than extremely okay.
Sure, but I like the sort of setting the bar low so you can surpass it. It's a smart marketing thing. I think they were called Games by, I want to say Matt at first, because it was just like 3 people and there was like one lead developer. So it's cool to see them change their name into that. I don't know how I feel about the title of Earthblade. Not a great name. Generic. It seems very video gamey in a way that Celeste isn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am someone who has sung the praises of Celeste a lot. I don't remember exactly where I put it in my games of the decade list, but it was definitely top 20. I adore that game, and I think as far as, you know, sometimes with movies or with games or records or whatever, a lot of times I assess them as far as giving them a grade on how well they execute what they're going for.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like, is this the best game of, you know, but as far as Celeste goes, it is about as well executed as it ever was going to be. I just think that game is just immaculately made. The soundtrack, people have sung the praises of a lot. Lena, I'm forgetting her last name, but like the composer who made the soundtrack is incredible. I hope they bring her back for the next game. And yeah, Celeste is, I know a lot of people sing the praises of Celeste, so I'm not doing anything but preaching to the choir on that part.
Yeah, and I've got to, you know, I'm always looking to branch out genre-wise into, you know, the genres that I don't touch on a lot, which is pretty much like 3D open world action. That's my go-to for sure.
Yeah.
And platformers have always been hit or miss for me, but Celeste is definitely on my watch list.
Yeah.
And I'll probably pick it up sooner rather than later and give it a shot. And I'll get back to you with what I think about it.
Nice.
On to the next story. So John Garvin, I was looking up the guy. I didn't have the guy's name earlier.
Okay.
This is the director of Days Gone.
Okay.
We have a direct quote from him that I find very interesting and rife for discussion.
Okay.
So in the wake of all of the no Days Gone 2, Last of Us remake talks that have happened in recent weeks,
which we touched on in last week's episode,
John Garvin said, in reference to Days Gone, if you love a game, buy it at full fucking price.
Was the fucking in there?
Yes.
Oh,
he said that.
Interesting.
It was bleeped out by every, reputable news source.
Yeah, but
I got to give you
the truth.
I'm the real journalist here. So I'm coming to you with the truth.
We believe in real games journalism.
Exactly.
We don't bleep shit.
So what do you think? What do you make of this quote? First of all, really weird thing to say. Like, if you love a game already, you should buy it at full price. How do you know you love a game? Yeah,
that's very true.
But beyond that,
I think this is just kind of sour grapes, to be honest.
I agree. That's a good way to put it. Because Eric Jensen, the head of the studio, came out pretty much in the immediate wake of this and basically was like, thank you to everyone who played Days Gone. We really appreciate you.
We love anyone who played it no matter the price. Yeah. Right. So I did see a little bit of this on Twitter, but it's a weird quote. I think there is a whole secondary market for games for a reason. Mm-hmm. And, sort of the Steam era, once digital games became a big thing of heavily discounted games. And then Days Gone is a game that was free on PlayStation Plus. So it's kind of a weird, I don't know if it was just.
Yeah, it's like John Garvin, if you love your game so much, tell Sony not to make it free.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if because this was in the wake of No Days Gone 2, this must have just been him going, well, the sales weren't there. Why weren't the sales there? So many people bought it on a discount or got it for free. That's why we can't bring Sony this amazing number, right? And then say, this is, people love this game, whatever.
Yeah.
So I understand that may have been the sort of immediate sort of like, well, if y'all had bought it at full price, we would have been able to make a second game. I get that, but it just reads really weird.
It does.
And it seems very, it's a very privileged take as well. I know a lot of people who, and I now at this point, unless it's a game I'm just dying to get my hands on, I will wait for a sale or at least wait for the $40 deduction,
Yeah, I get bamboozled from time to time. Cough, cough, Avengers, cough. But I rarely go the full $60, $70 in anymore.
Right. So I think, I don't know, it seems very like an outdated take almost.
Yeah.
And like you said, how are you supposed to know you love a game until you buy it?
I think if you're trying to put it into context, I think what he probably meant was to like, hey, if you love this game, evangelize for other people to go buy it at full price.
Right.
Which, I mean, sure, that's a fine thing to say, but don't begrudge your consumers for saying, I'm not really into your game. I'm not going to pay your full $60.
Or even like that game looks good, but right now I can't swing $70 out of nothing.
Myriad reasons for you not to buy a game at full price.
Right.
So, which we discussed last week a little bit. Like in my hot take about expensive games, like just because I think I would pay $100 for a game doesn't mean I don't blame you if you would say I'd take the same game, but I'd only pay $20 for it. Like,
right. Exactly.
To each his own. To the next story.
Yeah.
I don't really care about this, but I thought you might have a take.
Okay.
Overwatch director Jeff Kaplan has left Blizzard.
So this is weird because I would say of the sort of, head of studio leaves studio, I think Reggie leaving Nintendo is the one that sticks out to a lot of us. This, for some people, might be number 2.
Really? Jeff
Kaplan was really involved with Overwatch. People called him Daddy Jeff. It was a whole thing. Because when Overwatch was coming out, and he was sort of the face of Overwatch, they would do, and I think even as like BlizzCon's, they add characters to that game, whatever, he would be the one to announce the new character. So he was very face forward. He was very in front of the community. Kind of seems like maybe a shyer guy, but was, accepting of his role to do this. So that was kind of a fun dynamic. Very memed on the internet because it's a PC game and people are going to meme that kind of stuff. So I think this is an interesting thing. I know some people were speculating, like, is he just cashing in what has to be a huge percentage of Blizzard that he has, while the money's high and just getting out, which not going to begrudge anyone for doing that. Obviously not working is a better solution than working. Or maybe he's trying to start his own thing or, you never know what could cause a person to leave. But I think this is indicative of, and maybe it's not, maybe it is just him deciding to retire or whatever. But Blizzard has seemed even more, at least from the outside looking in, even colder than usual. Did not mean that, but there we go.
Cold as the Rockies.
Hey, Coors. It's not like I said whores.
Coors.
But I think it's indicative of Blizzard. They seem, at least to me, as going more corporate than they ever have with Overwatch 2's announcement and how like stilted that was. And just like, we're remastering Diablo, but by the way, RIP Vicarious Visions, we got to get them to do Diablo. And it's just, I don't know. I'm becoming, as much as I enjoyed Overwatch for a long time, I'm becoming less and less of a fan of Blizzard as time goes on. And this is just another part of that.
Which that's justifiable. I'm really curious if I'm going to be sold on Overwatch 2. Because there was a period of time where I really dug Overwatch and played. Honestly, I don't even remember the leveling system of Overwatch or how anything really worked.
Yeah.
But I was like,
a lot of loot boxes.
I played this for a while and had fun with it.
I enjoyed it a lot.
I was a Hanzo fella. I know that's, isn't that like not well received?
Genji is the one that people think is toxic.
Genji's the metal guy with the sword.
The ninja.
Hanzo's the bow guy. Yeah. I'm a bow man.
Hanzo is, I think, decently respected. Genji's the one where like you're toxic if you play Genji kind of thing.
Like, what about him?
It's just one of those like, it seems to, at least at some levels, the people who play Genji are very like die hard about Genji and won't play anything else. And a lot of thing in Overwatch is like being balanced. Sort of amicable, and knowing when to switch positions and stuff. And a lot of Genji mains are just Genji mains, and that's all they ever play. Yeah. But that's just like an
which I guess I never got into like the granular like
the meta,
balancing the team to have the best combination of characters and stuff. I was always just like, I would go a little like, oh, I could be more offensive or a little less, but I was never, the one thing I never ventured into was like healing and that sort of thing.
Dude, Zenyatta, my boy Zenny,
the angel looking chick, Mercy, yeah, not my thing.
I have, you can't see him right now because they're behind me, but I have Overwatch Pop Funko. Like I really was into Overwatch for, at the same time I was really into PUBG, which seems like an era so unlike me now looking back. But for about a year, those were basically the only two games I was playing outside of like single player stuff. And I was super into it, but I think looking back on it now, I'm more negative on it and would need a lot to be sold on Overwatch 2, I think.
I agree. On to the next one.
Yeah.
This is a potentially very hype story.
Okay.
But potentially just a little hype. Just a little bit.
Did not expect you to go baby voice.
Asper Media. You familiar at all with Asper Media?
No.
They've worked on a few like remasters of particularly Star Wars games.
Oh.
And it was announced that apparently they are working on a full remake. Maybe that's what we're going to quibble about the details. Of Knights of the Old Republic. Lots of people were real excited about this. Yes. However, there has been speculation, notably by Jason Schreier as well, that this is less of a full remake and more of just like a remaster situation.
Gotcha.
Which, would be significantly less exciting if it's just more of like an up-res reskin, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
If it's a full remake, I never played Knights of the Old Republic, but I've heard it's one of those like, maybe one of the most requested remakes of all time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I would be incredibly interested if it is a full-on remake. Would you be that interested?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, KOTOR is one of those games that it's a lot of people will mention it as one of their favorite games of all time, especially when people are discussing like movie tie-in games or things like that. KOTOR always comes up. And I've seen gameplay of it. I've seen some streamer friends play it. And it looks like it has a lot of the bones of a really good game. I think now, obviously, it looks a little dated. And it has, at least I've seen mostly people playing on PC because I think that's the only place you can play it right now. That's like a modern thing. And it has some like early 90s or late 90s, early 2000s like PC-ishness to it, which is a little off-putting now. So I would love a full-on like, Demon Souls scale remake of that game. But even if it is just like a remastered port, that might be enough for me to be like, okay, I'm going to give it a try. But obviously, the full-on remake is the better of the two worlds. Yeah.
The further I get away from just Star Wars as a franchise, the more disenchanted with it I have become.
Oh, yeah, same. 100%.
Like, when the sequel trilogy was coming out, like when Force Awakens came out, I had never been a bigger Star Wars fan than like the day before Force Awakens came out.
Right, yeah.
And Force Awakens was really fun.
Yeah, it
was.
We
went and see it in theaters. Like that was a great experience.
Did we see all three of the trilogy together?
I think so.
And then Rogue One.
I know we saw Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Rogue One.
I think we watched.
We didn't see Solo. I still have never watched Solo.
I've not seen Solo either. But of the Star Wars movies we've always seen together, which is cool.
Which, like, there's a lot you can say about the sequel trilogy. It has its pros and cons for sure.
Without a doubt.
And I really think that The Rise of Skywalker really turned me off in a lot of ways. Like, just the lack of reverence I felt like some of the creators held towards certain aspects of the franchise like really rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it's weird to see how different hands treat this franchise because it's been in so many different hands.
Yeah.
Like Jedi Fallen Order was great.
Yes.
And not amazing, but really, really good. I'll be excited for the sequel because there's definitely going to be a sequel.
No, without a doubt, yeah.
But it's just like, it takes a lot anymore to get me. Like, I need something fresh from this, incredibly deep, rich franchise. That I need something that is disconnected and different. So maybe Knights of the Old Republic could be something I'd be interested in, but I don't know. I'll have to wait and see.
That's fair. I kind of feel that way, especially with like The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That was the point for me where I realized like, okay, if it's Star Wars, I don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to invest my time in this. And I think with if you read it really cynically, like the sort of, for lack of a better term here, sort of whoring out of some of these franchises where just the pure,
which maybe none has been done more so than Star Wars.
Just the pure, we know this is going to make money, so we're going to keep making projects for it. I think I'm old enough now to see that, as opposed to being a kid or even being like younger and just being like, oh shit, there's a new Star Wars. Because there was a long period of time where we didn't have any new Star Wars, but now we're kind of at a glut situation where there's always going to be new Star Wars. And there hasn't been, unlike Marvel movies, which have been quality enough for me to trust them moving forward.
Yeah. And a little more scarce in terms of, like, there's not a ton of Marvel properties just coming at you from every angle.
Sure, yeah. They're a little bit more selective than Star Wars, which is just like, we're going to make everything.
Yeah.
There's not been the same level of quality throughout that I still get excited for Star Wars.
Yeah. Like, people are hyped for this show on Disney Plus called The Bad Batch, which is about this, like, ragtag band of clones. I'm like, who cares?
Which that's the animated series, right?
Yes.
It's the Clone Wars follow-up.
Yeah. I'm like, they are going to oversaturate this to death.
Yes.
Even if, they kind of already have. But, we'll see where. Screw Star Wars. They should remake Mass Effect and reskin it as Star Trek, by the way. That's $1 million idea.
Then we would be
Mass Effect terrible. Star Trek Mass Effect would be great.
You may be the only person that has that exact take, but I like it.
Anyway, on to the next story. Another recanting of a story that we talked about not too long ago. Discord no longer in sales talks with Microsoft. Those
Interesting.
Have fallen apart. Again, this is very, away from my sphere.
Yes.
But, good for Discord?
Yeah, good for Discord. I think that Microsoft and Sony right now, are we going to talk about the Movie Pass thing? Is this part of your
I didn't have it. I saw it because it's still just a rumor and it is being tested in one place.
Yeah. But. So I think so quickly.
Go ahead.
Movie Pass has been a thing that's leaked for PlayStation Plus. It's being tested. We don't know if it's going to be an actual thing or not, but it's possible that it could be like a Plus library for movies on your PlayStation console. They're still testing the waters on that, but I think Microsoft and Sony, I just bring up that to say they're both in the game of gobbling up stuff.
Definitely.
And giving it to your services. So I think for Microsoft, the sort of money move there is to give your customers Discord Nitro. They've done this in the past with Game Pass. They did that on Black Friday. I think the last 2 years they've done that where you get like 6 months of Discord Nitro, which is their premium service. I think Discord is pretty confident in itself.
As they should be, because of the utility of the service.
Yes. And like, as someone who has worked from home, this entire sort of quarantine, I've used Discord more than Slack or more than Zoom or anything like that. Like Discord, which it's part of the nature of who I work with, but
see, I got stuck with Zoom.
Yeah. Which Zoom isn't great. I used Zoom for the first time last week and I was like, oh, there's a lot of clunkiness here. That Discord, which to their credit has sort of smoothed out already. We talked about what Microsoft might see in them money wise, but I wonder if either the figure wasn't big enough for Discord to give up their independence or if Microsoft just maybe backed off on cost value analysis, who knows, but.
And then Microsoft already has like Teams and like sort of the software to already
sure
accomplish similar functions to Discord. But,
But yeah, good for Discord. I'm glad they're staying independent. I mean, if they keep working with Microsoft, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, yay Discord.
Yeah. Hooray. All right. Next story. PlayStation has officially announced basically nothing. But
that's what the press release.
It is a new AAA multiplayer game from Firewalk Studios. A lot of the people from Firewalk Studios, former Destiny developers.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
we don't know much else beyond this.
Right.
But I love Destiny.
Yeah.
Loved, in spite of it, loved Destiny 1. Really loved Destiny 2. Have recently got into Destiny 2 for quite a while, got way back into it, and I'm sort of waiting for the next big expansion to jump back in once again.
Yeah.
But as someone, and we're going to talk a little bit about podcast games here in the next story.
Okay.
But there is 100% no better podcast game than both of the Destinies. Like, they're incredible for that, and that's sort of what I'm craving a lot more in my older years that I've reached.
Same here, yeah.
So, are you semi-excited, lukewarm? Would you like a PlayStation exclusive Destiny style game?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I am down for more games and more studios and more stuff getting greenlit.
Like, if it's good.
Yeah, exactly. We'll hold off and see. But I mean, I think Bungie has enough of a track record where it's like, oh, a lot of these developers are from Bungie. I go, oh, all right. Yeah. They've made stuff I like, so might as well. I like it. I like the name Firewalk too for a studio.
It's a cool one.
It's pretty cool.
Makes you think of Firewatch.
It does. Yeah, it's pretty nail on that.
Interesting game. Good.
Firewalk with Me is a Twin Peaks thing. I've never seen Twin Peaks.
Firewalk with Me?
Yeah, that's like a thing. I think it's a subtitle. I think it's Twin Peaks : Firewalk with Me. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
I'm curious. Never watched Twin Peaks.
I haven't either, but it's one of those things that I've been told I would really like.
Isn't Twin Peaks one of the like?
It is Twin Peaks : Firewalk with Me. It's a movie.
Is that like a teenage drama crime?
Yes, kind of but it's David Lynch, so it's very weird.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But to your point of Firewatch, man, that game had potential. I wish it was just slightly better than it was.
I wish it was trying not to be as, I don't know what word I'm looking for. The story got weird.
Yes.
And a little overly ambitious.
Yes.
If it was just a very straightforward narrative between like this one Firewatcher talking long distance to another.
Yes.
And then that sort of never gets resolved. Like, that would have been really cool. Like, and it was super emotional, like certain parts of that game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But then they're like weird. Oh, there's like a conspiracy theory and like weird stuff going on. That got so
strange. I think the best moment of Firewatch, or the best sequence of Firewatch, is the first like hour or whatever.
That is really awesome.
You're going after those like teen kids who have been like partying in the forest or whatever.
I think it's the beginning and the end. Like the beginning being you go after the kids, the end being you're trying to get to the other Firewatcher.
Right, who you've been talking to the entire time. Yeah. And that game, I always forget, that game has like a text only opening where it's telling you about like your previous life before you took the job. Do you remember this?
Vaguely. It's been a while.
You pick, did you have a dog or a cat with like your former partner?
Yeah.
And then it's like telling you the story of that. I forget about that, but that's a cool thing.
Make another one. Just a little better.
What is happening because Campo Santo, the developer, got bought by Valve,
really?
Right? Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And they were working on that game that was like going through like tombs and stuff. Do you remember this?
I don't.
This got previewed somewhere. I'm gonna look it up.
So this is not going through tombs. Makes me think of that PS5 demo where the chick ends up like flying down.
Yeah,
like
not that. In the Valley of the Gods.
In the Valley of the Gods.
Or in the Valley of Gods. Sorry.
That rings a bell.
It got previewed at, I want to say an E3, possibly. I don't remember where it got shown, but apparently it's on hold, at least according to a Polygon story from 2019, which makes me sad because that game looked cool.
On hold for 2019, because when you first said on hold, I was like, oh yeah, COVID, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But from 2019, that's...
December 3rd was when that article was from. This is what it looked like. It was like, I mean, it looked like Firewatch, but in Egypt.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, so I want that game to happen because I like that studio.
Come back, Campo Santo.
Yeah, we miss you.
Bring him back, Valve.
Great logo, done by Ollie Moss.
Great PS4 theme.
Yes.
Like,
also done by Ollie Moss.
Yeah.
Ollie Moss is one of my favorite designers. And
anyway, the final news story, which is not much of a news story, but early impression embargo is up for Returnal.
Yes.
Everyone's talking Returnal.
Yeah.
From everything that you've seen, from impressions, from brief slices of gameplay, where are you at on this game?
So you mentioned podcast games.
Yeah, the Blessing Out of Yo-Yo Jr. from Kind of Funny quoted is saying this is like one of like a perfect podcast game.
Yeah,
which immediately I sent to you because immediately I knew that would entice both of us.
Yes, that would perk both of our ears up very much. Yeah, I think it looks good. I'm kind of surprised it's a $70 game or a $60 game, whatever price point it's at. Maybe just because I'm used to Housemarque being, sort of your indie titles, and this does look like a much larger scale. I admittedly haven't seen a lot of impressions outside of that.
everything has been pretty universally positive.
Okay, I've seen like it's really good, but that's all I've seen and just vaguely. I'm into it. I love the idea of like an actual, like really built out third person. It's third person, right? Roguelite. Like it is sort of randomly generated, right?
It is.
And that aspect of it, I don't think we've seen a game. I know there's that game on PC that is the Necropolis, I think is the name of it, which is also a third person roguelite, but not nearly to the scale visually of this.
Right.
So I'm really intrigued by it.
I'm honestly much more sold on it now, just in like the last week than I was before. When it was first announced, I was kind of like, okay, this looks cool, and they're giving Housemarque a little longer leash to make something bigger.
Yeah.
But I'm like, cool, good for them. They're going to keep growing.
Sure.
But then I'm seeing the impressions of this game. Talk about it being like a great, like the roguelike podcast game aspects of it, where you can just dive into these, randomly generated like corridors of enemies.
Yeah.
It sounds really cool. But the comps that I'm hearing for this game sound so cool.
Okay. Which are?
Like people saying like, it's like Control
okay.
meets like the aesthetic of like the Alien franchise.
Okay.
But then I'm seeing this gameplay that it looks like a third person like Resogun, where there are like tons of projectiles coming at you and you're doing dashes and dodges, and it's a good third person shooter. Like I'm like, this looks, and it's starting to sound really cool.
Yeah, you're starting to sell me on it day one.
Like I saw a few, there's just search like Returnal on Twitter and go over to the videos and just see some of the slices of it.
Yeah.
Because it has also too like a soulsiness where like there's this boss that is like shooting like a quadrillion like fire orbs at you that are like in patterns that are moving slowly, so you're like dodging through patterns to shoot them. Like it looks really cool.
I like the idea of this more and more.
So
when's the release date?
The 30th of April, I believe.
Okay,
so it's later this week.
It'll be before we record the next one.
Yeah, so I don't want to say I'm definitely going to buy it, but I'm almost definitely going to buy it.
I mean, it's
especially because the government gave me that sweet stimmy. Finally got my stimmy.
Oh yeah, Jay finally got a stimmy.
So I'm like, hey, if it's on the government's dime, might have to do it.
Gonna spend some time on the government's dime. No, it sounds like an amazing stream game because I mean, Hades was one of my favorite stream games.
Hades
last
has been
year.
Another comp of it,
right?
100, like seen that a lot.
What you're saying sounds a lot like just like a 3D Hades, and especially with like the boss patterns and stuff. So that sounds like an amazing stream game. I've been itching for something new, having been playing Twilight Princess and having mixed opinions on that game. So yeah, maybe I will buy it day one.
We talked about numbered scores last week. If it comes out, what is the number score that it has to be like north of for you to be like, yeah, I'm in? I think for me, it's like either
85.
That's kind of what I was thinking. If it's like north of that, I'm definitely in.
If it's like an 80, I might be like, I'll wait a couple months or something and buy it on sale, as we talked about earlier.
All right, so that's all the news.
You got
more! You got more!
Jay, it's time for our new segment. It's called Crazy Shit I Found on ResetEra.
Hey, whoa, hey, I just got to back up for a second.
Yeah.
Is that Fat Lip? Yeah. Why is it Fat Lip?
I don't know. I just wanted something to sing. Very inspired by Munch Squad on my Bim Bam. They do I want a munch squad.
Okay.
So, and it's all about food press releases. So I just picked a random song. So yeah, this is Crazy Shit I Found on ResetEra. Shout out to my buddy Straub who sent me this, he apparently is on ResetEra a lot. And once he heard this segment was happening, he's like, oh, I'll keep you supplied.
I love it.
So this is from a post. The post itself is funny, but a couple of the responses are really funny. So the post by user Discontent from a couple days ago, at 7:18 p.m., much better than the 8:11 a.m. we saw last week. The post, and the grammar's kind of messed up, so I'll try to be clear here. Name a game that has a high Metascore, then name a similar game that you think is better, but has a score that is at least 10 less than the first game.
That's a very specific criteria, but I'm curious.
It is. So in their first post, it doesn't have to be that you dislike the first higher rated game, just simply that you think the second lower rated game is better. It actually says just simply that you like that you like it better. Sorry. And remember, it has to be a similar game! ! So their comparison is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has a score of 92, but this bad boy has a score of 82, but I definitely think it's an overall stronger game. And pictured is Sonic and All-Stars Racing transformed.
Okay.
So that is the sort of baseline.
I'm not even familiar with Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transform.
It's have you seen some of the Sonic racing games?
No, not really.
Okay, so
to me, Sonic is just always racing.
That's fair, but it's like a kart racer. But the like gimmick with those games is, or at least with that game, is that you go from like, it's like the GTA races. You go from like a car to a boat to a bike or whatever. Okay. So that's the idea of it. Not that crazy of a take, I don't guess, because it's 82 and 92, but Mario Kart is better.
Yeah.
This post, Straub and I both assume is trolling.
Sure.
But if it's not, it has to be brought up by user On Point, who says, Mario Party 4, 70. Which already it's like, what game do you like?
Very specific.
Mary-Kate and Ashley Sweet 16 License to Drive, 49.
First of all, I don't believe that Mary-Kate and Ashley License to Drive is at all comparable to Mario Party genre-wise, but I don't know. I'm just assuming.
Jay, I played this on YouTube.
No, you didn't.
I swear to you, I did.
Actually, now you say that, I remember this.
I did a Let's Play of this game. It is a Mario Party knockoff, and it's terrible.
Lord.
I did it in retrospect on it, so it was so funny to see that. Their comment, I legit had more fun with Sweet 16 than any Mario Party game ever. Now, that might be trolling. Who knows? It's kind of hard to tell. This one we don't think is, and it's really confusing.
That's the way I like it.
So remember, the thing was the games have to be similar. From user Elandil, whose picture, might I add, is Al Pacino.
That is just a headshot of Al Pacino.
It's just a black and white photo of like current Al Pacino, not like Godfather Al Pacino. No. Red Dead Redemption 2, 97 versus Subnautica, 87.
What?
Or even better, Soma, 84.
Okay. Just plug the games you like. Like, don't compare them to a game that is clearly way better.
For my taste, swap them around, easy. But just...
I love riding my horses through the wide open spaces of Soma.
Who compares a sweeping exploration open world shooter to a horror game? Like, what? How do those even, like, Soma's...
What is it, Subnautica? Like, I'm thinking of Abzu. That's the game I'm thinking. What is Subnautica?
Subnautica is you're underwater, you can build a base.
It had to be water involved.
It's kind of like an exploration but survival horror kind of game, but there is a story. But it's not similar to Red Dead.
You're a strange person.
So that was this week's.
And Red Dead is better than the games you like.
Yeah.
Just like Call of Duty.
I mean, yeah, Red Dead is a way better 97 than, and I like Subnautica, but
yeah,
it doesn't hold a candle.
Anyway, let's push aside the crazy folk over on ResetEra. Let's get into our topic of the day, which, Tanner, we've got I talked about the illustriousness of Coors Light, but in reality, Coors is what you would call a good cheap beer.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And what's something that people like to do with good cheap beer? They might decide, hey,
drink it.
Well, yeah. That's thing number one.
Drink it. Bing.
That's number two. Number one is play drinking games with it.
Oh, good point.
Now, I have scoured the internet.
Oh, I'm intrigued as to where this is going.
And I have found some of the most interesting concepts for video game related drinking games.
Oh.
And I'm going to just tell you about them.
Yeah.
We're going to discuss them.
Yeah.
And we might pitch some revisions, because some of them are certainly more original and intriguing than others. I think I have 6.
Okay, this is a cool topic.
And we're going to start with, every time I Googled this, and I Googled this several times and scoured a few articles, this is by far the most popular video game related drinking game.
Can I have another beer, by the way?
What? You certainly can.
Thank you.
Beerio Kart.
Ah, okay.
So the funny thing is, when I first was looking, I was like hoping that I would find some games where it's like, oh, when blah 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 happens, you drink. Like, yeah, because you can make a game that into anything or out of anything.
Yeah.
Beerio Kart. Players must finish an entire can of beer. Now, maybe the rules vary, but this is a specific iteration.
Yeah.
Players must finish an entire can of beer during a single Mario Kart race.
Oh my God.
But the catch is, it is against the rules to drink and drive.
Okay, I think I've heard of this.
So that means that racers must stop their cars every time they want to drink.
That's awesome.
Like, that's awesome. That really is.
Really
like,
fun
that's
rule.
I have, like, no notes.
Yeah.
Like,
you nailed it. Whoever made this, you nailed it.
Because that's the perfect, like, wrinkle that is tied into the game itself.
Yes.
Like,
it's a competitive aspect to drinking.
Exactly. And Mario Kart's so fun anyway, and it's such a party-oriented game.
Yeah.
That I could absolutely, like, just picture a bunch of people just around there, like, with their Blue Mountain bottles and just being like, hey, being like, yeah, like, you're driving, put it down, put it down. Like, that would be, like, a really funny, like, scenario. So, like, but let's think about, let's brainstorm.
Yes.
A lot of different things you could do in Mario Kart. A lot of power-ups. I was thinking that would be a good, like, what's something, like, power-up related that you can tie into drinking? You know?
You maybe could. Like, oh, go ahead. Oh. You could. This is interesting. If you're not, well, I guess you could do it with this rule too. But you set up shots beforehand.
Oh, Lord.
That somehow include blue curacao. If anyone uses or is hit by a blue shell, you have to take the shot.
That's awesome. Because it shouldn't even just, because blue curacao is like a relatively weak liqueur. Yeah, but like, you can always like color something else with it.
Mix it with vodka or something.
Oh, Lord. So you said if you get hit with it.
Yes, or if you use it. Or you could just do it, if you use it, you have to then take the shot. So it's like do I feel like taking the shot in order to use this blue shell?
And there's the blue shells, red shells, and green shells.
Yes.
Those are the only shells.
Yes.
So like okay, now we got to think about this. Green shell, you get like a green appletini shot, like, or something.
You do absinthe. You do a shot of absinthe with the boys.
Everyone just like gets like low key, like drunk high, like playing Mario Kart.
Absinthe is fascinating.
I've never tasted it.
Me neither.
I'm curious.
Me too.
Have you seen like the weird like rituals that they do, like or not like rituals, but like how absinthe is like prepared?
No.
They've got these weird like they're like decanters or like something where like you put your glass and then there's like a little grate and you put a sugar cube on it.
Okay.
And then you like mix the like absinthe with like water, I guess, to dilute it a little bit. And you just turn this little knob and it pours it over the sugar cube, which dissolves into the rest of it. And I'm like, this is way too ornate. Just put it like in a mixer. If you're trying to make it mixed, but I also can't like, I've heard absinthe just tastes weird. Like, and there's different flavors of it.
I have no mental like.
No, me neither.
Taste image of what absinthe could taste like.
I think I've heard some of them that are flavored like licorice. You like licorice?
Yeah, it's okay.
Like black licorice?
It's fine.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I heard some people hate it.
Yeah, some people just abhor black licorice. I will say, I sent you a video of cocktails.
Woo!
That's awesome. But I sent you a video of a bunch of cocktail recipes because I knew you'd appreciate it. But
you did.
The guy in that, for certain cocktails, he uses like an atomizer, like the spritzer bottles, with absinthe in it to give like an absinthe coating to a glass.
Interesting.
But that's it. He doesn't actually like pour absinthe in it.
Just to give it the like aroma.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well,
there's our absinthe talk that you want from your gaming podcast.
Anyway, the next game here. Now, I have not played Bomberman ever, really.
Okay.
But I'm familiar with Bomberman.
Yeah.
But this is Irish Car Bomberman.
So wait. This is one of those cases where the game definitely came about because someone thought Irish Car Bomb's a drink.
Exactly.
Bomberman's a game. Let's put those two things together.
Exactly. And I think those are the best ones where like you can like there were some was just like I was Googling like, video game drinking games. And someone would just be like, Call of Duty. And I'm like, what do you do? It's like drink every time you die.
Drink while you play Call of Duty.
Exactly.
It's like, all right.
Here's how you'll play Irish Car Bomberman.
Okay.
Matches can be anywhere from 2 to 8 player bouts, where the standard rules of elimination in Bomberman still apply, with the exceptional caveats of drink distribution among certain conditions.
This is far too legal sounding.
Which I like. I like how granular it is. The winner of each match will be given the option to exempt themselves from any required drinking for that game, while the losers will drink a number of Irish car bomb shots that's relative to their placement within the match standings.
Oh my God. If you're playing with 8 people and you get 8, do you have to take 8 shots?
I guess.
Or maybe it's like half a shot per placement or something.
For example, if you play around between 4 people and you're the first one eliminated, you'll be pounding down 4 shots. If you're the second to get blasted, then you'll slam 3, blah, 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 blah.
Jesus. That's a
recipe to die.
Yeah, that sounds like hell. Which I've never had an Irish car bomb. I don't even really know.
I think I've had...
Are those the ones you dunk in beer?
It's a bomb shot. So I think it's...
Is it Jaeger?
Guinness is the beer, obviously, because it's Irish.
Yeah.
And I think it's like Bailey's mixed with something else. I could be wrong.
Bomb.
Maybe I'm just thinking of every Irish drink I could possibly think of. Just put them all together.
So basically, you have to drink 4 whole beers and 4 shots.
It's like half a beer.
Okay, fair, but still, I mean,
it's much more reasonable.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I do not advise you to play this game in the rules that we just described.
We should also just give a blanket drink responsibly here.
100%. I'm taking this from the internet. This is not from me. And but also kudos to you, person who's decided Irish Car Bomberman.
Yeah,
like that's a good name.
That was definitely, they thought of the name first and built the game around it, and I respect it.
But I have no notes not because I don't think it's a good concept, because I don't really understand the gameplay of Bomberman.
Bomberman plays like Bomberman is basically a Mario Party mini game, but it's only one mini game, and you just play it over and over. Yeah, that's the way I would describe it.
Yeah. So I know this is it's like a rectangular map with like destructible things. You just throw bombs. Yeah. I don't know. Who cares?
It's fun.
Who's playing Bomberman these days?
No one.
Nobody.
No one's playing Bomberman.
Another good name.
Okay.
Super Smashed Brothers.
Nice. Very good.
It says what you'll need is any beer of your choice in any copy. So it works with any of the varieties. So if you got Melee in your GameCube laying around, you can play that. If you got Ultimate, whip it out.
If you got the N64 version.
Exactly. I mean, with all 8 characters.
Yeah.
Here's how you'll play. The guidelines are pretty simple. Players will set the number of stock for each fighter entering the match.
Okay.
Where the round will go on until all but one have depleted their inventory of lives within their stock. Each time a player... That pretty much just means go until someone wins.
Yeah.
Play the games more and understand what you're writing about, people. Each time a player is tossed out of the arena, here's the good wrinkle. They'll need to grab for their beer and chug it down as long as their character returns on the sanctuary pad. So you know how when you respawn, you're on the little thing.
Yeah.
So it's basically drink as long as you're on that thing.
That's pretty good.
So
I enjoy that.
Yeah, at least that's something game specific.
Right.
But now I'm trying to think, there has to be myriad opportunities.
Oh, is that the only rule?
The winner of the match will then have to add an extra life to their stock in the next round, which isn't exactly the edge you'd imagine when you consider that the factor of it potentially being an extra risk to chug their brains out.
Sure, yeah.
That the other players aren't burdened with. So, but then again, if you're winning, you're probably going to keep winning.
Well, that's the way to even it out, I guess, a little bit for drinking's sake.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was called the sanctuary pad.
No, me neither.
I had no clue. I would just call it the little platform, I guess. LIL apostrophe. But yeah, there's got to be more rules to Smash than... I mean, I guess it would be hard to implement a similar... Because this Mario Kart rule is amazing.
It is.
It would be hard to implement that on Smash, I guess, because if you stop playing and someone else is playing, it's just an auto elimination, basically. That's a game that's hard to drink mid-gameplay.
Definitely.
So right. I would imagine it has to be after the fact. Like, you could do like your KD and
Kevin Durant.
Yep, your Kevin Durant, the new Smash Bros. Character. They got him. We have everyone, including Kevin
Durant's like burner Twitter personality, because that's the closest you can get to him being like a virtual character.
Yeah. But I wonder if it's like, if you have more kills than deaths, then you get to give a drink. If you have more deaths than kills, you have to take a drink, or you have to take amount of drinks that you're under.
And maybe if you're playing one of the more modern iterations that has like the final smashes, it's like if you get eliminated by a final smash, like you have to chug
finish
or
your drink,
or something like that. And maybe there's like some character specific ones, like for
every Falcon punch, you have to drink some punch.
Yeah. Well,
you make Falcon punch.
This is another. This might be a later topic of like just game-related drinks, exactly, to really live up to the overall themes of our podcast.
What if we find a bunch of those and for like the 50th episode.
Make them?
Yeah. We just drink Falcon Punch. I'm sure there's some Hyrulean Zelda thing.
This is an idea.
Yeah.
I'd break it out sooner than the 50th, but you know.
Every 10 we try a new cocktail.
That's not a bad idea either.
That's not.
Just pick one specifically.
Yeah.
We'll be brainstorming about that. Next one. This was just, there was a Reddit thread of people trying to come up with fun ones. This is very simple.
Okay.
And you'll have more insight because I have played minimal of this series, but this game would be called Drink to the Past.
Okay. I'm already sold.
Pick a Zelda game.
Yeah.
Name yourself Drink.
This is great.
And every time you see your name,
that's so
Drink.
good. That's so good. I love that so much. Oh man, that's really fun. I enjoy that a lot. It's so simple, but they do say your name a lot. It's funny too because it's not Link, it's Drink, which is great. Because like I've noticed, because most Zelda games do let you name yourself, and so I normally just name myself like Dorm or Drom, and it's kind of weird in Twilight Princess where for some reason that dialogue felt like it's written more to say Link than any of the other games, or at least I'm just noticing it more. And so that's just one of those immediate things I thought of, like, gosh, they do say it a lot. And it would be interesting, I guess those games are kind of slower paced. So I wonder if you like pass the controller and you have to try to get so far.
Yeah.
I think Link to the Past would be the best one because I think it's the one, if I had to take a guess, would be the easiest to beat in like a night.
Right.
Because that game, you could probably, if you knew what you're doing, you probably beat it in like 8 hours.
You think you could beat it after how many times you had seen your name?
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah. Oh, wow. Because like you have to talk to a lot of NPCs in most of those games. You would just be risking it every time you go talk to somebody.
Like, don't say my name.
Please say my name. Just tell me what I'm doing. Say Zelda. Like, please.
Yeah. Again, no notes.
Yeah.
This is another one, though, that's a great name.
Yes.
Great concept.
That one's amazing. Credit to whoever came up with that.
The person, if you want to give super credit, well, first of all, this was 6 years ago.
Shout out.
But Right Cross 4 on Reddit.
Hell yeah, Right Cross. You nailed it.
That just made me think, though. How about Chris Weidman's leg?
Oh, my God. Dude, I wasn't watching the fight, and then I was because I saw Twitter explode about Chris Weidman's leg, and I caught the replay. It's gnarly.
Yeah. As someone who's like fascinated by injuries,
I thought of you immediately.
Of course. And we've talked about this, and we were there for the Silva.
Well, we've never talked about it on the podcast, so
go for it.
Brief UFC aside, if you want to skip ahead, that's fine. So I used to be really into watching UFC. I think a lot of people were when I was like in high school. It would just be a thing like me and the boys got together for, and I think one of the first UFC pay-per-views you came to.
Yeah, it was. I think it might have been the first.
That's so funny. Was Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman, and the first time they fought. And Silva, notoriously, who was like the baddest man on the planet at the time, kicked Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman checked the kick, which basically just means you kind of prepare yourself to take it. And he checked the kick so well and so like spot on that Silva, and this is grotesque, so tune out if you get easily grossed out. Silva kicked Chris Weidman's prepared leg so hard that he broke his own leg. Anderson Silva broke his own leg kicking another guy's leg.
I'm trying to do a diagram with my arms.
Yeah, if you're watching the video version, Jay is trying to show.
Picture this as being Anderson Silva's leg wrapping around Chris Weidman's leg.
It did wrap around and
it was crazy.
Of all the moments in my life where I wish there had been a camera on me recording, this might be number one.
There were 4 of us around the couch.
Yes.
I remember being like recoiling so hard that I went back over the couch.
The funniest thing was we all had such different reactions. I remember mine, I basically went into the fetal position. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, we all screamed.
Yeah.
I think Andrew got up and ran around. I don't remember what Hank did, but like, it was amazing. Like, it was terrible. It was awful. And like,
but it was a moment in time.
Yes. Weirdly enough, that same guy, Chris Weidman, who broke Anderson Silva's leg by checking the kick, kind of, last night broke his own leg kicking a dude in almost it was the same leg. It was almost the exact same way.
Yeah.
And just, it's like one of those train wreck can't look away moments where you're morbidly fascinated, but it's also really gross. But yeah, that fight card, at least the three fights that I watched, was awesome.
I heard it was awesome
because each of them had an ending. Like nothing went to decision of the last 3 fights, or I guess the last 4 fights. Anyway, that was wildly grotesque.
Yeah.
And
the thing with the Weidman one was that because I didn't watch the fights, but I saw the replay.
Yeah,
and it's like with the Silva kick, you saw his leg break on impact and wrap around Weidman's leg more or less. Weidman's leg was pretty much, it broke on the kick, but you didn't really see it break as well.
Until he tried to put weight on it.
He tried to, get back in a stance, and then his leg just completely crumbles underneath him.
Yeah.
Which was like,
ugh. It was so gross.
And just hearing the announcers' reactions, like normally it's not like a somber, like, oh no.
Yeah.
It's more of like a, oh no. Like,
yeah.
It's like an excited oh no in a weird way.
It's like, oh my God. Yeah. Good card, though.
Good card. UFC, fun sometimes.
Yeah. A very key element. Fun sometimes.
The next video drinking game thing. Quipplashed.
Oh, okay.
So.
These games already conducive to drinking, by the way.
Definitely.
The Jackbox games.
Definitely. So it says you'll be playing Quiplash, and it sort of runs it down here. It says, this is a different website. This is from Vice.
Okay.
Booze requirements, it just says, line up the shots.
Uh-oh.
Rules, very simple. If your answer is the lowest voted, you drink. If you're voted the lowest answer, you drink. So either whether it's...
Okay, so that's for the last round.
Reset, hang on. If your answer is the lowest voted, you drink. Or if you voted for the lowest answer, you drink.
Oh, I hate that.
If everyone votes for the same answer and you get a quiplash, you all drink.
That's awesome. Oh, that's such a good wrinkle. Because with the first 2 rules, I thought you're going to lean toward unanimous wins, which is a quiplash. If you don't know what quiplash is, by the way, it's like a Whose Line Is It Anyway type game where, they give you a prompt and then 2 people try to come up with something funny and the rest of the room votes for which one's funnier. So, and you get a quiplash, the name of the game, by winning unanimously. But this is saying if you win unanimously, everybody drinks. But if you vote for the less voted for, or if you made the less voted for answer, you then drink. So it's going to be this weird, like, who do you think is going to win? But somebody has to play it. Oh, that's so good. Yeah. There's a lot of dynamic in that.
And Jackbox is just, every single Jackbox game is just conducive to a party fun setting.
Yeah, for sure.
So whether you actually want to gamify it or not, like, you can just have fun drinking, playing, hanging out. But to gamify it is smart. And I think there's not like there's a ton of mechanics in like Quiplash.
Sure.
Like, this might be about as deep as you can get with like,
if
you're trying to turn it into a drinking game.
Yeah.
But just a good idea.
I wonder if Jackbox games, if you were to somehow like quantify it, if those games are the games most played while under the influence of alcohol,
like per capita,
yeah, or per times played, they have to be up there, right?
You're right. That's definitely up there.
What's another game people drink and play? Like, I mean, we do it for Mario Party, but
any like party scenario.
Yeah,
game. I'm trying to think if there's like a game that's like a normal game that for whatever reason would skew in that way.
Maybe Call of Duty, but I don't think so. I was just trying to think of something like super popular.
Yeah.
Like Madden or something.
GTA came to mind, like as I don't know. That's tough.
That is tough. Yeah, it would all be multiplayer stuff, I think. There you go.
Let's see here. The next one. Now this one just says Guitar Hero, but not well done studybreaks.com.
Got him.
To not call it Guitar Bureau.
Nice, very good.
But this is also one where, like, don't do this or you're going to die.
Oh.
Maybe. Because there is a little bit of a wrinkle.
Okay.
But basically, this is a very simple one. Their version of the game is just drink whenever you mess up. Playing Guitar Hero.
At any point?
Yeah.
That's no.
But they're like, the wrinkle is choose your difficulty wisely.
Oh. Why wouldn't everyone just choose easy?
I know.
I guess the idea of a drinking game, though, is you do want to drink.
Because, if I tried to play a song I'm a good Guitar Hero player, as has been semi-well documented. Yeah. But if I...
Not on this podcast, but just in life.
But if I tried to play a relatively difficult song on Expert and the rule was drink every time you mess up, I would be messed up after the first song.
Yeah, how do you even document this? Like, do you tally it and then the person has to take that many drinks afterward? Or is it the person not playing drinks...
Oh.
Because then you could play with some really weird stuff. I think this one, as is the case with a lot of drinking games, overly ambitious. Not realistic. Now you could say, I wonder if it's like anytime... Is there a thing in Guitar Hero that happens like once or twice per song? Star Power?
I was thinking
Anytime you use
Star
Power, you waterfall, like you chug until Star Power's over?
Or everyone else chugs if you're using Star Power.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. I don't know. It's a tough one.
It's a better Guitar Hero rule than every time you mess up. That seemed like one of those cases where a group of friends or whatever really wanted to play Guitar Hero and they wanted an excuse to drink. And that was all they could think of was just, what if every time we mess up, we drink?
Well, it's like, a lot of games are not conducive or don't have a lot of like unique mechanics that would be well suited for a drinking game. And you just kind of have to work with what you got if you're trying to make it into that. This might be a good example of that.
Yeah.
And it talks about Rock Band too, but I'm like, I wonder if Rock Band would be any different in any way. Like,
oh, that one could be more interesting because there is a group dynamic.
Yeah.
So like anytime, if you're the person, see, messing up is too simple again.
I agree with that.
But if you're, is there a group multiplier or no? Oh, well, there's a leaderboard at the end. If you're the person with the lowest score at the end, then you
that could be one.
Do a shot or something. You do a shot. You take a shot because that would actually, I think your score is affected by the difficulty you choose.
It is.
So that could actually motivate people to pick a higher difficulty.
That's smarter.
In hopes that they could maybe get a higher score.
And in that case, I'd be playing expert every time.
Yeah. You could do the similar thing with Guitar Hero where it's like everybody plays the same song. But do you want to hear a song like 4 times in a row? I don't know, but
depends on the song.
That's true.
What's a song you'd want to hear 4 times in a row? You quote John Mulaney and do "What's Up, Pussycat."
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I'm trying to think of Guitar Hero songs that I want to hear 4 times.
Well, that makes me think of short songs. Because like, I definitely don't want to hear One by Metallica 4 times in a row.
My first thought was Less Talk, More Rock.
Oh.
Simply because I love that song.
It's a great song.
And that's one of those songs that I didn't know before Guitar Hero that I definitely learned.
Was it on Guitar Hero or Rock Band?
Guitar Hero 3 DLC, I want to say. Guitar Hero 2. I think so. Maybe it was Rock Band. Hold on, I'm going to look it up.
Surely that was, I mean, I feel like if it was on Guitar Hero 3, I would remember it.
I think it was DLC for one of the games. I don't know why I remember that. That was like one of my first instances with DLC. I'm gonna look this up. What other Guitar Hero songs would you want to hear?
Oh man, there's so many. I mean, pretty much half the songs on Guitar Hero 3 I still like marathon on a regular basis. The ones that are semi-unique to Guitar Hero 3: Miss Murder by AFI, Lay Down by Priestess.
Oh, I don't know if I know that.
I'm going for the deep cuts.
Yeah, you're going real deep.
Those are probably the deepest cuts that I still love.
Okay, so
Raging is or Bulls on Parade.
Oh hell
of
yeah, of
course.
So it wasn't DLC, but in a similar vein, it was a bonus song you could buy for $500 in Guitar Hero 2.
2?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm surprised they got... That's a pretty genre leap. I mean, what would you even call Less Talk, More Rock? Like synth?
Synth rock? Is it even rock?
I wouldn't really call it rock. But that at the beginning, like, holy moly.
So good.
So, like...
Okay, so they had another song... in Guitar Hero 1. Yeah, Freeze
Pop in Guitar Hero 1?
Freeze Pop is a Guitar Hero OG called Get Ready to Rock with 2 Ks.
Of course.
But yeah, let's talk more rock. What a banger.
That's going to be our joint recommendation for this week. Let's Talk More Rock. Just go listen to it.
Just go listen to Let's Talk More Rock. Great song.
All right. Now the big one. The big one in the sense that it's everyone does it, but there's got to be room for fun creativity that has not been explored.
Okay.
And that's any of the Souls games.
Oh, right. Okay. Funhouse has done this. A lot of Let's Players.
It's a classic like Let's Play trope. Like every time you die in Dark Souls, you take a shot.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
If you're taking a shot, it's like have fun with your night.
Yeah. You better be good at Dark Souls.
But I'm trying to think if there's a good wrinkle that could be applied to like different, like, okay, so Dark Souls is different than Bloodborne, is different than Sekiro. They all have different things.
Yeah.
But like the Estus flask, inherently a good, drinking analog.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like every time you drink from the Estus flask,
you have to take a drink.
Is a drink.
With Sekiro, anytime you respawn.
Oh, and revive yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Revive. I'm trying to think of Bloodborne.
I mean, there's still the blood vials. You can do the same thing with blood vials.
Anytime, I I was going to say anytime you modify your weapon and go from long to short, short to long, but I don't feel like I did that very much in my playthrough.
What if you do the long to short thing?
Yeah.
But and it's like every time you die, you drink. But if you're in short weapon mode, you do like a normal drink. If you're in long weapon mode,
you take a shot. That's interesting. Did you use long weapon mode more?
Never.
No.
I almost never use the long weapon.
I just picture the saw cleaver folded up.
Yeah.
And that's the way I picture it.
I think it looks weird when it's not folded up.
Yeah.
I would occasionally do the like combo moves where like you would do it and it would extend it.
Yeah.
And then I would immediately just like whip it back into short mode.
Yeah.
Bloodborne.
Whip it real good. What a game. What a video game. I will say that one interesting thing for a Souls game was if you beat a boss, everyone else has to take a shot.
Oh,
and
that's a good one.
You pass the controller around.
To throw it back on the other people.
Yeah.
Or like every time you reach a new bonfire. It's another good one.
That's a good one.
Or a lantern, whatever the analog is in whatever game.
Yeah.
Sekiro. What could be done with Sekiro? There's so much.
I was going to say, anytime there's just ridiculous dialogue, you have to take it just like what is the name? The guy yells falling off the bridge. Robert. Yeah. Why does he yell Robert?
That's his son.
Oh, okay.
There's like a whole
doesn't show up in the game.
No. There's some weird. Apparently, that dude is like semi-based on like European colonial visitors to like feudal era Japan.
Okay.
Because his armor is like a medieval like armor set, and he's just there. He's like, why is this dude in like Japan?
Yeah.
But apparently, he's like. And his son's name is Robert.
Robert!
Like, there's a lot of weirdness, but he's apparently, like, a real thing. And, like, it sort of has a backstory where, like, he had a son that either died or something.
Yeah.
So you kick him off and you're Robert!
Well, I thought of that, and then I thought of, like, my name is Oniwa, or whatever he says.
Gyobu Masataka Oniwa.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I love that game so much.
My name! It's so good.
Every time someone mentions the rejuvenating waters... You have to drink the rejuvenating waters, you know?
That's pretty good. I will say, I have done a Mario Party one, which I think we've done together as well, which is if you are, depending on how many people you're playing with, like if you're playing with, which I guess most of the times you're playing Mario Party with 4 people, if you're first, you don't drink at all. If you're second, you take like half a shot or you don't drink. Third person takes half a shot and then fourth person takes a full shot. That's a very...
Like on dice roll amounts? Is that what you mean?
No, like at the end of a mini game. Yeah. No, at the end of a mini game.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So it's like, you don't have to do a shot. You could just do drinks, but it's a game to get very drunk very quickly if you want to do that.
I mean, there's a lot of ways. I mean, you can apply, you can do the shot every time you die in Dark Souls. If you're trying to get drunk, you're going to get drunk quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
That was all the ones that I listed. I'm trying to think if there's any other games that like lend themselves well to a drinking game format.
Towerfall Ascension was the first thing that came to mind.
It's a great multiplayer game.
I'm just trying to think of things we play at parties.
Yeah.
And we still pull out Towerfall from time to time. That game's great.
It's so good.
Which is also made by the Celeste people, to bring it back.
Really?
Yeah, same studio.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But I'm trying to think of how you would... I guess it would just be a leaderboard thing. You could assign certain drink amounts to the little like... Because they give you little subtitles at the end of each game. You could do drinks to that, or you could just do placement. Or if it goes into overtime, everybody drinks, or something like that. There's a lot of fun rules you can make with Towerfall.
If you do like a Tony Hawk like time trial, like you do like if you had 4 people and do because the standard is 2-minute time trials each.
Yeah,
like lowest high score.
Sure.
And then because that incentivizes because Tony Hawk, you can get a surprisingly high score by not taking a lot of risks, but just chaining like a combo. Yeah. It's very simple together. So like one person's strategy might be like, I'm going to go try to hit like a 900 like every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But someone else's might be, I'm just going to grind this rail and hop off the wall and keep going.
Yeah, just keep manualing.
Like, and as long as you don't mess up. And I love games that like encourage that kind of precision.
Yeah.
I love Tony Hawk.
I'm just thinking about, I'm very in PS2 era right now because we talked about Guitar Hero and Rock Band and Tony Hawk.
I mean, there's so many retro games that lend themselves better to a party scenario. Maybe that's because people, if you're going to a party type situation, probably not everyone, so like us and listeners of this, is probably not as hardcore of a gamer Probably doesn't have a PS5, probably doesn't have whatever.
Right.
But they have a nostalgia attached to certain games from 15 years ago.
Well, and although it's coming back, like the idea of doing local co-op, which I'm wearing a local co-op shirt, but the idea of doing local co-op was more integral to games before there was online. Yeah. So like PS2, PS1 era stuff, and even like SNES stuff would be really fun from a drinking perspective. I was thinking Overcooked could be a really fun one. Where it's like if you lose an order to like the hazards of the stage you drink, if you
I would get so frustrated.
Yeah, that would be it would be just a hot time to play Overcooked because everybody would be so on edge.
I'm gonna wait to talk about because we talked about Quiplash.
Yeah.
But pretty much, like we said, every Jackbox game would lend itself well.
Sure.
But one of my recommendation this week is a Jackbox game.
Oh.
So it's going to be... Well, we can just go ahead and get into it.
Why not? I was going to say, do you want to get into it now?
Might as well.
Yeah.
Because my recommendation is going to be Madverse City.
Oh, hell yeah.
I love Madverse City.
It's so
good. And it's maybe just because I've sort of gone on like a YouTube rabbit hole of like roasts recently.
Okay, yeah.
And like if you're playing Madverse City and you're not roasting people, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Like... Don't go for the jugular.
Right. Well, depends on who you're with.
Exactly.
Our group does.
Yeah. Well, we don't go for we could go harder.
Sure.
But then you're just being mean.
Yeah, we're going for the
inside joke that kind of touches a nerve.
Right.
But the other friends are gonna
pop. Yeah.
You want your friend who you're not making fun of to run out of the room laughing.
Yes.
Like that's your goal.
Yeah.
And like we were sort of alluding to, like if there's a joke that you've been sitting on for months.
Yeah.
And you whip it. That's the perfect time to break it out.
Yeah.
And just totally like send the room into hysterics.
Right.
And that would be a good one where less voted person drinks or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that game. And
it's
I love,
so good.
The rap battles and roasts and all that sort of thing is just my jam and my sense of humor.
Yeah.
So that is my recommendation and a good beer or a drinking game idea.
Yeah. Kudos to Jackbox Games for not only making You Don't Know Jack, which is one of my favorite games from like the 360 that I had. I'll always mention that because I feel like a Jackbox diehard because I was into them before they made Jackbox games. I feel like a hipster. But kudos to them for making so many new games that all are fun.
Yeah.
Like the amount of ideation on that team is incredible.
Yeah.
Like they could definitely, and they do sequels, they do Quiplash 2 or Fibbage 3 or whatever, but the fact that they keep trying new stuff and almost always is at least a little bit funny or a little bit fun or whatever is really impressive. And I'm impressed by that studio a lot.
Because they add they make sequels to the games that are hits in the sense of sales.
Yeah.
But they don't stop trying new things.
Sure.
And I imagine they're going to keep trying new things until the next one hits that they can make sequels out of.
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So
that's what you got to do.
Kudos.
Because there's a lot of those. Like Madverse City is very similar to Joke Boat.
I've never actually played Joke Boat and I want to.
Joke Boat's fun. It's kind of hit or miss because it gives you a first part. It's like Madverse City where it gives you the opening line or whatever. So that you kind of have to adapt to sometimes, but it has a lot of formula for success.
That is the one thing with Madverse City is you really have to try to come up with something that a word that you can seamlessly blend into the next one. And sometimes it'll be my rhymes are great. I'm and then you're discus. I don't know. It won't make sense in that first line, so you have to bring it in with the second line.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna hit you in your meniscus.
Oh.
It's the only thing I could think of that rhymes with discus.
Discus. You give your recommendation. I'm trying to think of another word that rhymes with discus.
I alluded to earlier, my recommendation is Cook Serve Delicious 3. I have not made this my full recommendation before. I've talked about this game and I like this game, and full disclosure, the dev, I'm friends with a lot of the dev team, especially the main developer, Chubbigans is his username on Twitch. But it's a game that, as we said earlier, just fits in that podcast mold. I love it so much. One of the few games where I actually feel enticed to go for the high score, to go for the gold medal. Maybe it's just the completionist trophy aspect of it or whatever, but it's funny because I will sit there and will because if you mess up once, you have to restart your day.
Yeah.
And some of the days are long. They're like 200 orders to fill. And it's very easy to miss a button, or especially when the orders get more complicated, like you have to put lettuce, bacon, and cheese, and you accidentally put a tomato on it, whatever. Like that's really easy to do. But I'm so invested in it that I'll just go like, fuck. And I'll just get like a little frustrated and then I have to restart. Made me actually think of a second game. I'm gonna give 2 recommends.
Go for it.
Have you thought of your rhyme yet?
The funny thing is I'm basing it off of spelling.
Okay.
And the first thing that came to mind was Pisces, even though it doesn't rhyme. But I'm like, it's like looks like it could.
Discus and Piscus. Anyway, my second recommend is a game called Bloodroots.
I've heard of this. What is it?
So it is stylistically, visually looks like Samurai Jack.
Awesome.
It is about this samurai guy who...
Hold on. The video of the little like warthog guy in the tank.
From
like,
Samurai Jack?
That talks like Ed Orgeron, head coach of the LSU Tigers football team.
Yeah.
He's like, get on there. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
I don't think I've seen this
Side
video
note.
in a long time. But yeah, it looks like Samurai Jack. It plays like Hotline Miami. So right up my alley, obviously. But it's by a small indie studio. The reason you probably heard of it is because Greg Miller's partner, Jen, Pop Agenda, her company, is the one that published it. But they talked about it on the podcast a long time ago. And it's one of those games that I think I didn't get the platinum for, but I got deep into the trophy hunting. But it's very similar to Hotline Miami. It plays really well. The ridiculous amount of like random weapons you can pull in are really fun. Cause like it's one of those games where you can pick up a piece of wood and kill somebody with it, or you can find like a bowling ball and kill somebody. Like it's kind of ridiculous, but visually it looks really cool, plays really well. Yeah, check that game out if you haven't heard of it.
Tanner, I can't come up with anything that rhymes with discus.
That's okay.
It's hard. It's not like a single word.
Yeah.
But it's like something discus, and it's like a bunch of hang on. I don't even want to say what I just thought of. It kind of got weird.
All right.
It's kind of like a bunch of masochistic eggs. I wish you would whisk us.
The phrase masochistic egg is pretty good.
That's deep in the rhyme vault for me right
biscuits? There. You couldn't go biscuits?
We talked about biscuits.
I thought you were talking about whisking eggs.
Dang it. Biscuits. Crap.
Well,
I love biscuits, man.
Yeah, they're so good.
If you don't put sausage and something sweet on your biscuits, reassess your life.
I mean, or just the sweet thing. If you want like a little...
No, either go just sweet.
Yes, or savory sweet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And with that...
That's it for this week. Tanner, by next week, we're going to be about a month away from the heat of E3 season.
Oh, hell yeah.
And so sometime soon, we'll allude to it whenever we're going to do it. But we're prepping. I'm sure we've both been at least tacitly or unconsciously brainstorming our E3 predictions.
Yeah.
It comes to mind periodically, and it's that time of year. Can't wait.
Hell
Hopefully
yeah.
it's good. Screw COVID.
I hope it's a thing. Yeah.
I hope, yeah. Well, at this point, we don't know what PlayStation plans to do for that season, and a couple other folks. So hopefully it still all comes together into a relatively cohesive E3 weekend.
Yeah.
But we shall see. You're going to get our predictions regardless.
Hell yeah.
But until then, or whatever the heck we do next, we're going to tap out.